Hi everybody, I'm Diane.
Clementine.
Welcome back to our podcast.
We're losers, honestly. We're like, ooh, it'll be up next week. And then it didn't. So what we're doing, we're posting this today, and then we're having Thanksgiving tomorrow for those who celebrate, and then Friday will be our other one posted. So we're making up for it.
Yep. Welcome back. Glad to have you here. Welcome to anybody new. Before we start, a quick disclaimer. This video will contain anything related to horror and murder. So if you're...
There's also, I'll add sexual assault. So...
Trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warning.
If you're uncomfortable, if this will trigger you, don't watch. And if you're fine with it, then stay.
Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so this is not an unsolved case. This has been solved, thank God. So I don't hear of lots of people talking about this case. I could be wrong, but like when I'm talking to other people who are true crime lovers, people who, study cases, this isn't one that's normally brought up. And I don't know if it's because of the nature of the crime or if it's just, one that's unheard of. So I heard of this because of my mom, actually. So shout out to my mom. She was watching this on a show, and I was like, wow, that's a crazy case. So this case is the case of Danny LaPlante. So first off, it takes place in 1986. So I think this is the family. Because when I Googled the photos, it said this was the family.
I'll believe you. Benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, there are two sisters, Annie Andrews and Jessica Andrews. And they're currently living with their single father, Brian Andrews. Try to keep track because there's lots of names in this story. So Annie Andrews, Jessica Andrews' sisters, they're teenagers, and they're living with their father, Brian. Their mother has just recently passed away. So, the girls are obviously very distraught. They're grieving. The father's grieving. And they miss her. And Annie, the older sister, she is like, I wish I could just talk to my mother one last time. Like, the only thing I want to do is talk to my mother again. We'll come back to this.
It's so evil.
Annie had a thing for seances.
Oh.
Did I say that right?
I think it's seance.
Seance. Acoustic. So, what Annie would do, she thought that by performing these, she'd be able to speak to her mother again. And that's all she wanted to do. I don't know how the mom died. I want to say I don't want to say actually because I'll probably be wrong. But I feel like it was a cancer or something. I don't know.
Was she young for a mom?
She
your
was
mom's
mom age? Yeah.
Mom age?
She was a typical mom age. I think Annie was 15, and then Jessica was 12 or 13.
Oh.
So, okay. So, moving on, they're living with their father. Their father goes to work a lot. They're lonely. They're like, I wish mom was here. So a neighborhood boy, 17-year-old Danny LaPlante, he calls Annie one day, and he's like, oh my God, I got your number from some mutual friends because Annie, I just think you're amazing. You're just so great, Annie. I've always liked you. You're just, yeah, I really have a thing for you, Annie. So Annie likes what she hears. I mean, as any 15-year-old would.
Yeah.
So they decide to keep like calling each other, talking to each other via phone because it's 1986. And
do they ever meet up?
yes, eventually Danny is like, we should get ice cream sometime. So Annie's like, okay. And she doesn't know what Danny looks like.
Oh.
So this is like...
That sounded really British.
Oh. So this is like Tinder in 1986.
I got your phone number.
I got your phone. So let's
Where
do
from?
a little backstory of Danny.
Okay.
This is this guy. He was born 1970 in Massachusetts.
What's his birthday?
I don't...
Damn. I wanted his star sign.
Yeah, I would figure out his... Let me Google that, actually.
Detour.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I need to know his zodiac sign to see if it makes sense. Oh, yeah. He's a Taurus.
Oh,
It's
there
always
we go.
the Taurus
Yeah.
men. Okay, so I'm not surprised at all, actually. And if you're a Taurus male listening to this, I meant full offense when I said that because y'all crazy.
Feels
So, Danny, he had a awful childhood, and by awful I mean awful, like literally so bad, like any budding sociopath has.
Oh.
He suffered sexual and psychological abuse from many adults in his life. His father was like the number one. I was just always beating this kid, always sexually assaulting him.
I hate that.
So Danny decides to go to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist starts to sexually assault him.
What?
Yeah,
This boy, like, he's like, I need help. Helper.
sexually assault.
How about we don't?
So the psychiatrist would make sexual advances towards him, and for like many sessions would just sexually abuse him.
Was the psychiatrist a male or female?
I don't know.
I don't know. Either way, it would still happen.
Yeah. And Danny, in his teens, he also was, he liked to rob houses. He liked to go in, take some shit. He would even, like, leave stuff behind in some houses. He also would, like, go in and, like, move stuff around and then just leave.
Me.
So, he liked to mess around with people. So getting back to Annie, they meet up on their date, and Annie's like, oh my god, because she sees Danny for the first time, and she's like, ew, first of all.
Oh.
Yeah, so she is like, maybe we shouldn't do this again because I'm not interested anymore.
Poor guy.
So Annie gets out of there, and she's like, I want nothing to do with you anymore, Danny, we're done.
Bye, bitch.
So Annie decides to take up Ouija boards as a hobby.
No, Annie, what you doing?
And her sister would participate in this stuff.
So she got her sister in on it
Yeah,
too?
because Annie was like,
Annie, you're freaking
we're gonna
dumb.
talk to Mom again.
Mom's gonna kill you.
So,
That's not your mom.
do you believe in Ouija boards?
Yeah. I believe that you're gonna let something in your house.
Yeah,
that you
I
don't
believe
want there.
that. But also, don't you think like sometimes people are using a Ouija board and they'll move it themselves and be like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah, of course.
the ghost.
Any
did it."
YouTuber that ever did it, it was so
Obviously.
fake.
Do you remember in elementary the Charlie thing with the
Yes!
pencils? And
That
you'd
was
be
like
like,
the most stupid thing ever.
Charlie, are you there? Are you
Mhm.
here? Yeah.
Who's Charlie? How are there so many of them? I've never met more than 2.
There was a Charlie in my neighborhood who used to ride his scooter down the street, and
That sounds scary. Just
you
off the
had to
bat.
like hide from him
Why?
because if he saw you, he would talk to you for like 3 hours straight.
Was he like a kid?
Teen.
Oh.
And he would just like, one time we were playing outside in elementary school, like on the playground, and he rode his scooter like onto the playground, and they were like, Charlie, you can't do that.
Was
Bad.
do you think he was like neurodivergent?
Yeah,
Oh.
100%.
That kind of makes me feel bad.
Like the whole town knew Charlie, that's the thing.
Oh. He's
Yeah.
popular.
I'm surprised you don't know the origins of Charlie.
I don't know anybody.
Yeah, clearly. Anyway, so Annie,
It's a dumbass.
she would perform seances with like candles, and all that junk and
gonna get
Ouija
possessed.
boards. And then she was like, "Ugh, Mom isn't talking to us. I give up. I'm done. Let's not do this anymore."
Mom is
So
rude.
later in the night, Annie is sleeping and she begins to hear like on her walls.
No!
Like tapping and thumping, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's Mom. She's talking to us."
Annie, you have something wrong with you if you think that's your mom.
So her sister was also like, "You think it's Mom?" Jessica was like, "Oh my God, Mom's here." Ah! Their dad doesn't know that they've been doing this shit with the Ouija boards.
Their dads never know what happens.
Brian works a lot because he's a single father.
Poor Brian. SMH. Widow.
So they keep hearing like
That's a really good example.
like the lemonade mouth intro. And they just like hear those and they'd be like, "That's weird, but it's probably Mom. So let's just chill out because we've been using this Ouija board."
It's probably Mom.
It's most likely Mom.
Nothing else ever.
Nothing.
Did they know the risks of a Ouija board, or were they like, this is just for fun?
They thought they would be just communicating to their mom, so they were like,
girl, I wouldn't even do that.
I know.
I'd be like, bye, Mom.
Literally, my entire family could be massacred, and still I wouldn't pick up a Ouija board.
I wouldn't even go to like a psychic, because then they tell me things I don't want to know.
I actually have like a huge fear of going to a medium, and like a spirit being like, "Oh yeah, she like Peter Pants. And then the medium has to be like, "You peed your pants."
I do that too.
Especially if you're in like a surrounding where it's like a public, medium, and you're in like a session.
You peed your pants when you were 15?
I peed my pants in first grade.
You're like a baby.
In front of everyone. Literally everyone.
That's bad.
I was in the classroom and I was holding it in all day and then I just peed. Oh my God, we're getting so off track.
That's fine.
This isn't even like a case that I'm like taking lightly because it's so messed up. Anyway, so they kept hearing these noises, and one day they heard the noises in the basement. So Annie and Jessica, Annie and Jessica, decided to go in the basement and be
it's like rule number 1 of horror movies.
Yeah, you just don't do it.
No.
So when they got down there, okay, here's a house. I forgot to show this slide. Here's just a house. Okay, so when they got down there, they saw a message written in ketchup, which they at first thought it was blood, but when they looked deeper, they realized it was ketchup.
That's sad. Why ketchup?
Because it looks like blood.
Commit the whole way.
I know. So the message said, "I'm in your room. Come find me." So the girls were like, "What the fuck?" Obviously, as one would react.
Bring a gun.
So they ran to their neighbor's house.
As you should.
To alert them and to alert their father, Brian. So Brian gets home and he's like, "You guys are making this up. You guys, your mom died and now you want attention because you're...
Brian, what the hell?
You're being annoying
this is
teenagers."
Every
Brian is
Brian.
like...
If your name's Brian, leave.
Yeah, there's something with Brian's. So they alerted Brian and he's like, "I don't care, you're making this up." Because me, personally, being Brian, I haven't heard any noises. And I haven't heard anything.
Brian, you're also at work 24/7.
I haven't seen any messages, so therefore you're lying.
Stupid Brian. I hope he dies first. I'm just kidding.
So, wow. You just dropped that.
That was Danny. That was Mom.
So, he thought they were just acting out because they wanted attention, and because they started acting weird after the mom died. So he's like, this is just part of it.
What girl is like, "Hey, someone's in my room trying to kill me," and they're like, "That's for attention. Shut up, wench."
I don't know. Brian apparently thinks
Brian.
that.
Ugh.
So one night the message appeared on the walls again.
Did Brian see it this time?
Brian saw the girl's reaction and was like, fine, I'll investigate. Because
Thank you,
if
Brian.
you're so scared, then I'll go ahead, I'll be a father and actually,
Great job
look
parenting,
around the
Brian.
house. So he went inside the house and he heard like noises upstairs and he's like, weird. Okay. So as he was going upstairs, he saw a figure in the hallway. Do you know who this figure was?
Was it Danny?
It was Danny. And Danny was wearing the mom's wedding dress.
Oh my god.
Danny also had a hatchet with him.
Oh my god.
So he was prepared to kill the entire family. So it turned into like a game of cat and mouse, basically. Danny was like chasing them through the house, and eventually he got them all somehow and tied them all up and was getting ready to kill them, basically, the entire family. But one of the girls was able to get out of the ties, and the entire family ended up escaping through a window. And Danny, was like, fuck. So the police arrived, and they began to investigate the house, and they found, like, the weird messages. They found coins glued to the ceiling.
What?
But they couldn't find Danny. That's the thing.
I'd move. I would never go back to that
Danny
house.
was gone. He, just vanished.
Did the wedding dress go with it?
I think so. I think he wore that.
To the church, baby.
Yeah. So the Andrews... Oh, the dogs are barking. The Andrews decided, hey, Lola, stop barking!
Just ignore them.
Yeah, please. They're rude. So, the police... Whoops. The Andrews family, they decided to stay out of their house, obviously. But then they came back 2 weeks later.
What? You just lived
to
there.
move back in.
Dumbasses.
And Danny was in their window.
In it? Like in the house or outside the house?
I think he was outside the house.
Oh.
I think he was waiting for them to come back home.
Well, I would too if I'm a freaking psycho.
So the police came back again, and they investigated, and what they found shocked the entire family. Shocked me.
What is it?
As they were looking, they found a washing machine, and when they pulled it, there was a crawl space behind there that Danny somehow discovered, and inside the crawl space was a sleeping bag, beer, and food wrappers. So Danny had been living there, and he was the one crawling in the walls pretending to be the mother, because he heard the girls using the Ouija board. He heard them doing the seances.
That's my biggest fear is someone living in my house that I don't know about.
And he literally just lived there for the longest time, and the family had no idea that this guy was just living in their house. Brian would go to work and it would just be Annie and Jessica, and Danny would just be living in the walls.
Dude, that's the worst thing ever.
Do you know BTK?
No.
Bind, torture, kill.
Oh, yeah.
He would do that. His victims, he would live in their house, and then he would attack them. Yeah.
Stop.
That's the worst. Just do it if you're gonna do it.
Yeah,
Don't live in my attic.
If you're gonna kill me, get it over with. I can't.
Yeah, I'm not
It's too
doing
suspenseful.
that.
Sorry.
So the police got him.
Yay.
So he spent his time in a youth detention facility because he's 17. They can't send him to prison yet.
No. He's gonna come out and kill him again.
And he was shortly released, obviously.
Danny.
And what's the next photo? Okay. So, December 1987 was his court date that he was supposed to go to court. And, you know...
Did he show up?
He was gone. He disappeared.
Oh my god.
This guy just keeps...
He's back in the crawl space.
He's in the crawl space again. So, they're like, well, you know, he probably learned his lesson. He probably won't do anything.
Dude! What cop thinks that?
A lot. So, they're obviously looking for Danny still, but they can't find him.
Mm-hmm.
So, one day, here's a totally different family. I'm gonna butcher this last name.
Okay.
A man by the name of Andrew Gustafson, Gustofson, Gustafson.
Close enough.
He comes home one day to find his pregnant wife shot in the head. Her sheets, like, just covered in blood. And their 2 children, young children, drowned in different bathtubs. So obviously this man is like, what the hell happened? Police arrive and investigate, and then they get a call of a woman who just escaped being kidnapped, and she identifies her kidnapper as Danny LaPlante.
That poor guy!
Danny LaPlante kidnapped this woman, but she was able to escape, obviously, and he was found hiding in a dumpster, and they got him out, and they found one of the hairs of the little girl that he killed on his sock.
That is such a weird spot. I think, like, coat?
So, they obviously arrested him, and this story, thank God, ended with him actually going to prison.
Good. He's nuts.
So he's currently in prison. I think he's trying to, like, appeal.
No!
Which,
stupid bitch.
Danny, you've literally done, like, everything wrong in life.
You've committed every crime.
Yeah, just literally everything bad you've done. It's a sad case. Like, it just shows how, you know, if
cops are dumb.
only they kept him longer,
yeah,
then this family would have been fine.
Mm-hmm. It's always like law enforcement. Seriously, the people
They
who are
just
supposed to bring
up.
justice, like, fail every time.
It's just sad because even though the whole, like, youth thing, this guy literally lived in someone's walls.
And, like, attempted to murder them.
Yeah, he had a freaking hatchet with him.
Yeah, he literally kidnapped them. And you're going to be like, oh, he's fine.
Youth facility. And yes, he had a terrible childhood, but you know who else had a terrible childhood? Ted Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
It doesn't excuse your actions.
It
explains
reason,
them.
Not an excuse.
Yeah. I don't know. And also that woman, now she has trauma of being, like, kidnapped. So it's just a whole series of events. It's like, just, if only he would have been kept longer, if only he would have, you know, been monitored better, then even, let's start at the beginning. Would this have happened if Annie rejected him? I know that's, like, a terrible thing to say because, like, obviously her rejection doesn't call for, like, him hiding in her walls, but it's, like, just a domino effect.
It's, like, it's so common in men to be rejected and then
go,
have, like, revenge. Like, they feel like the woman owes them.
Yep.
For leading them on, quote, unquote.
Leading them on.
Yeah. Like, they think that they are unstoppable.
Entitled.
And they deserve it. Like, they think they're lucky. The woman's lucky to be with them.
And you know what, Danny? She's right. You are ugly.
Yeah.
So
if you get out of jail,
He's
it's
never
free
getting
reign.
out of jail.
If you can crawl, you can brawl. I'm out finding you first.
Yeah. It's just shocking.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad. I thought at first that it was like a supernatural case.
You did?
Yeah. Because
makes sense.
like the whole Danny thing, I thought that was just something added to just, build Annie's character.
If
and then
Danny was like smart, he could have gotten away with it by like, I don't know, being a witness and being like, oh, I'm friends with Annie and she would do all this supernatural stuff. Like, I think a demon got them. Like, and then they're in the 80s.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, okay.
Okay, it's the 80s. It's not the Salem witch trials. People still have common sense.
I don't know. Anything I hear from the 80s is not.
I feel like the 80s, everybody glorifies the 80s, glorifies the 90s even. But when you watch, like, teen movies from the 80s and 90s, I'm like, ew.
They're boring.
Well, it's also like, don't you think, I don't know if this will make sense, everybody in, like, 80s and 90s movies, they're just assholes. Like, the teenagers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're always so mean. Like, the
they
bullies.
They always make fun of, like, old men. Old people in general. Like, if you're an adult, like, they're after you.
But the bullies, like, take Karate Kid, for example. They're friggin' ruthless. Even, like, what is it? I don't know. Some 80s movie. Oh, Stand By Me. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Well, the bullies were ruthless there, too.
I think it's because, like, nowadays we don't permit it. But back then, like,
they
children
supported
were allowed
it.
to be assholes.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, you're a wimp. You deserve it. I mean, hold on. Bullying is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time.
It builds character. It really does.
Like, I was bullied. Did I hate it? Yes. Mm-hmm. Am I a horse girl anymore? No.
Yeah. So that's the entire case, basically.
Yay! He was caught.
He was caught. Happy ending, but also sad ending because those deaths could have been prevented.
Stupid cops.
Incompetent.
Yep. Reform. The BAU would never.
The BAU would never. So, yeah. Thanks for listening to this. Another one will be posted Friday, obviously. That one's gonna be an unsolved one. It's gonna be shorter because, the case, like, I watched it on Unsolved Mysteries when I was, like, 8, and I was like, what? And it just haunts me, honestly.
All right.
So, it's not even, like, scary. It's not a murder at all. It's not a kidnapping. It's nothing. It's just so weird that I'm like, okay. So, yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy holidays. Hope
Happy
you
holidays.
prepare for your winter holidays, for whatever you celebrate.
Yes.
And if it snows where you're at, stay safe. Don't crash. Go slow.
It's pretty rough out right now.
Yeah, it's gross.
We're in northern New York.
What?
So, yeah, okay. Peace out.
See you in the next one.
Leave comments below.
Give us suggestions.
Yeah.
Bye.
Comments are motivation.
Yes.